What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 30 of Contemplations with Austin West. I am Austin West. I'm sure you picked that up by now. But maybe this is your first episode. Who knows? I don't know who's sticking around. I don't know who the newbies are. Wow, 10 days left of this 40-day devotional. Pretty wild. I'm going to be bringing this to my men's group. So for those of you who are in the men's group, we are starting another 40-day devotional on September 1st. We're going in. It's been really impactful for me. Yeah, we'll talk about it more when I'm finished, but I'm going to bring this to other men. This is how we meet parts of ourselves, how we call ourselves forward. So shout out to the Coliseum, men's container. Got a call this Thursday. It is still free for now. Well, that changes in August as well. So if you are a man looking for a community, want to try us out, well, at least one call a month is going to be free, but making some changes in all areas of life. Oh, I want to talk. Ooh, I got it. This is a quote that came through on my Entheos Collective community call this morning. I'm so sick of healing. That's what we're going to talk about this episode. I'm so sick of healing. Aho. Amen. Ashe. All the words. This path is tiring, y'all. Especially now. I talk about this often, but it's bigger than you. It's so much bigger than you. So much bigger than me. We are moving through things collectively at scales that I don't believe we're ever going to be able to put into words. I think we'll look back 5 years from now and be like, wow, all of that made sense. Of course we went through that. Of course that came up. Of course that was the thing I was moving through. Of course. But when you're in it, it's hard to see. What's that saying? Forest for the trees? Is that even a proper time to use that saying? When you're in it, it's hard to see the forest for the trees? Yeah. Maybe it is. I think you get what I mean. And I just want to offer a different perspective on all this healing work. I think what healing is actually about is learning tools to understand a process that is unfolding organically. Sometimes we think that saying yes to, quote, healing work means that's what's starting to bring up all this stuff. And it's a yes and situation. Think about the version of you before you started doing any of this work. Were you living the exact life that you wanted to live? Were you happy and joyful and abundant and expressive and had a relationship that just filled you up and brought you everything you want? Were you owning your desires? Were you speaking your truth? I would guess no. Or else why would you walk the path, right? And I think that what became difficult for me, again, I'll speak just from my perspective. What becomes difficult is, all healing is opening our awareness to the parts of ourselves that we ignore. It's learning tools. I don't care if it's parts work, Richard Schwartz, I always forget, Schwartz. Or part X framing, Phil Stutz. Or my mind, body, soul teachings. Or Joe Dispenza. Or Tony Robbins. Or, what's her name? She's written a shit ton of books. My mom loves her stuff. I don't know. There's all of these different modalities out there. There's all these different ways we can heal. All of those are just ways to understand a process that takes place whether you're aware of it or not. And part of healing, here's another quote I'll drop. This is from, I guess I don't need to say who it's from, but awareness is a bitch. It's part of the healing work too. You start to become aware of the parts that you've ignored. And it becomes heavy. And it becomes troublesome. It becomes annoying and fraught and frustrating Because we're finally starting to look at the parts of ourself that our previous, our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents did not look at. Here's a funny admittance. For some reason, every time I thought generation, I thought it was like 80 years. Like a generation was a whole lifetime of a person. I don't know why I thought that. And then today on the call, somebody was like, no, generation's like every 20 to 30 years. However, whenever you have birth, that new generation, I was like, oh, wow, yeah, I guess it makes sense. So whenever I thought like 7 generations forward and 7 generations back, I was thinking hundreds of years. But really, it's just, maybe a couple hundred at the most. Anyway, we literally carry the stories and the traumas and the wounds forward that we don't look at in ourselves, that our parents didn't look at, that our grandparents didn't look at. And it's not that we don't want to, it's that the tools weren't available. And we have so many teachers and books and podcasts. We have so many tools to look at these parts of ourselves, to do this healing work today, because this is a reflection of the evolution of humanity, a reflection of the evolution of consciousness. So the tools that are being made available are mirroring our readiness to look at those parts of ourselves to become free of them. And so at some level, there's a requirement for healing to not be fun. This whole love and light, positive vibes only, I do not subscribe to that. I don't. And if I'm being real honest, I even was like, do I want to bring this up today? It's like, I was in that process for a couple weeks, and then last 5 days I felt on fire. Maybe you even feel my energy shift today. And I woke up again today. I'm like, fuck, something else. I'm tired of it too, y'all. And I trust. I trust that I'm choosing this at some level. I trust that this is exactly where God wants me to be. I trust that the more I surrender to me being exactly where I am, the quicker it moves through me. I trust that if I tell myself the truth about what I feel and where I am and what my thoughts are and what my experience of life is in the moment, that truth is the very frequency that will continue to bring me into alignment, that will clear the distortions I live in, because the distortions are what create my suffering. And again, July 17th to July 23rd, I've talked about this the last few, but I'm going to tap on it again. We're entering into Barbeau's basket. I don't fully know what that means. I'm not an astrologer, but I listen to a lot of this stuff. I'm a researcher. This is what I love to do in my free time. I watch podcasts and videos, and I research, and I understand what's going on with humanity and the collective, and I do the best job I can to articulate it back to you. But this guy, Andre Barbeau, he predicted some wild, like 2 decades in advance, the Berlin Wall falling. He predicted decades in advance the 2008 crash. He predicted in the Berlin Wall, he's like, it's when East and West break down their barriers to unite as one. Said something wild like that based on the astrology chart. Named it to the year, to the month. Said a financial issue. Named to the month that the stock market crashed in 2018. Named a pandemic 35 years in advance about what would happen in 2020. This guy was, I don't care if he's a channel prophet or if he really was reading it from the stars. You can't, when people predict shit at that level, it's like, what is going on there? You're a vessel of God, whatever's coming through you. He predicted that July of 2026 is the reboot of civilization, and said that the last time this happened was 42 to 4400 BC, which was about 6,000 years ago, which is the start of is it Mesopotamia? Is that right? The Fertile Crescent. Is that right? I don't know. That just poured out of my mouth. What is the Fertile Crescent? Hold on a second. Sometimes I'm like, what just pours through me? I mean, no, not 6,000 years ago. Okay, I'm back. Scratch that part. I don't have an editor, so we're not going to edit that out. But whatever. Is Mesopotamia right? Yeah, I think this is right. Yep. Yeah, we're the birth of civilization. Where like Turkey is and the Sumerian culture, whatever. But all I'm saying is the last time this happened was a really big deal. And he says this is starting in 3 days. So just try this hat on with me. If you're moving through some shit, if you've had a rough year of healing, if relationships are on fire, if you're moving through abundance and money wounds, if you've had breakups, divorces, loss of friendships, if your business is failing, if you've lost your job, if anything in your life feels like it has gone awry in the last 6 months to a year, and we are truly coming into an astrological window that is going to mark the rebirth of civilization, don't you think we're going to have a lot of shit come up? Because in that reboot, we have choice in which version of the next civilization we get to live in. This is where it goes into some of the more esoteric things, where they talk about the world split and dimensional realities and Dolores Cannon and Bashar and some of the channelers and the prophets of like, we're entering an age where we get to choose which realm we want to live in. Don't you think we're going to have a lot of shit come up? So I feel you. I'm in it too. And the more that we allow ourselves to be in it, give your victim a voice. Just don't become identified as the victim. If there's a part of you that's tired and sick of it and frustrated and wants to cry and scream, let it be so. Just don't identify as that part of you. Do the best you can to be the observer of all experiences happening in your life. There's such profound purpose to everything we move through. I believe that. There's such deep symbolism to everything we move through. There's times I'll have like a story or belief or a wound, or I need a meta word for all of that, come to a conclusion. And it's like the second I learn the lesson, I can see how that specific lesson mapped out like 2 years ago it began. I could tell stories about that a lot. Around shame, around my sexuality, around relationships, around my own judgment. I have these moments where I tap in. I'm like, oh my God, that lesson started in 2022 with that person. It led to that. And went to there because that highlighted this story, which led to the relationship with such and such, which gave me the ability to see this. And then here I am able to integrate that. And unless every single part of that process happened over the 4 years in the most perfect way it could, I wouldn't be sitting in the realization I am right now. So yeah, I'm sick of healing too. But healing is not the thing that we're sick of. Healing is the concept. It is taking action to learn the skills of what it means to regulate ourselves, the skills of understanding our internal landscape, the skills of being able to become the witness and observer to our life, to detach ourselves from everything that we have given away our power to, all the things we have been victim to, all the things and people we've become victim to, all the ways that we project our stories and beliefs on another person as if this entire experience of life is not just a mirror of you. That's what healing is. Healing has nothing to do with the process that we're in. Nothing. That process is going to happen regardless. And here's how I think about it. It's man, I wish I could draw this. Let me see if I can. Thanks for your patience, y'all. This feels like a really good analogy. So imagine that okay, let me use an example of my life. I've told the story about being at the beach to take my first microdose, and for the first time in my life, I admitted that I didn't like my life. I hated the life that I was living. If I didn't have that experience at the beach, that quiet knowing and whisper that I hated my life would have continued to perpetuate. And so I would have kept doing drugs and sleeping around and playing video games and binge drinking every week and staying on pharmaceuticals and doing blow every weekend. None of those, staying on steroids, all of those behaviors would have stayed if I didn't come to that realization that opened up the potential for me to look at those parts of myself and heal those parts that allowed me to be in those behaviors in the first place. I still would have been suffering, just unconsciously. That doesn't mean I was in a good place. I knew none of those things were good for me, but I didn't know what was going on inside for me to address those things that were going on with me. So I think that the part that has been overwhelming, I think, is when we make that commitment to, okay, I'm going to look at what's already there. You choosing to do the healing work isn't creating the thing. You saying I'm willing to look at it is just looking at the thing that's already there. And so it's like, yeah, how do I get this vision of my mind out? I have this picture of marbles. So I'm going to draw something real quick. Okay, I hope this makes sense. So there's this like funnel, and we could call this funnel. Yeah, I'll just write it. This funnel is our shit. Oh, it's backwards on the camera. So you get what I'm saying. This funnel is our shit. But at the bottom of it, there's one marble that's blocking the whole thing. And when we pull that marble out, all of a sudden all the shit starts coming out with it. It's like, look at me, look at me, look at me too, look at me too. You said yes. Let's look at all these things. But there is an end to it all. Emotions have a capacity. If you find yourself you can't stop crying, well, maybe you got 4 years of crying to get out all the crying that you suppressed for 4 decades. If you feel like your anger or frustration is never ending, maybe you're processing anger and frustration that's held in your DNA from the 3 previous generations that refused to look at it. They numbed it. They drank it away instead. Saying yes to the healing work is beautiful because it means that the people in our life, our kids, our friends, our family, they don't need to get to the brunt of what we got from the people that didn't look at their stuff, that didn't have the tools that we have now. And so in the overwhelm, just remember why we're doing it in the first place. It's to actualize the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible. Shout out Charles Eisenstein, incredible book. That's my opinion. I hope that helps. It feels complete. I have a feeling of where this podcast is going to go when these 40 days are done. I have a feeling I'm going to take a couple-week break. But I'm feeling longer episodes and being a little bit more precise with what I bring in. Be a little bit more, I don't know. I'll let you know when I figure it out. But for now, appreciate you being here. Love you all very much. I do. And as always, be blessed. Peace out, y'all.